Hi, welcome to She Spice. So it's truly beginning to feel like every individual who was once close with Drake is presently walking out on him. However, who might have thought we'd see the day when even his young Cash family, the very individuals who helped send off him into super fame, would freely conceal him? Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake utilized to be a definitive triplet during the youthful Cash brilliance days, putting out hit after hit, and their science wasn't simply in the studio. Wayne and Drake were like siblings, while Drake and Nicki shared such a nearby bond that had the web estimating for quite a long time that there may have been more than just fellowship between them. Yet times have most certainly changed now. It seems to be Wayne and Nicki are adding their names to the consistently developing rundown of individuals who've had it with Drake currently. Drake's fanatic fans are over here. Saying this simply demonstrates that this large number of people were counterfeit companions from the leap, and it's Drake who's the genuine casualty here. Others, anyway, rushed to call attention to the fact that Drake has been associated with some obscure conduct himself. Recall when he supposedly connected with Lil Wayne's sweetheart while Wayne was secured, and then, at that point, there were those times he cozied up to individuals who brought only show into Nicki's life. Yet even all things considered, Wayne and Nicki remained faithful to him. However, in obvious Drake design, he couldn't avoid blending the pot. He kept sneak dissing and pulling obscure tricks on the web, and the most recent show Drake went, what's more, dropped an incredible 100 chatter of content. Yet what truly had individuals talking was his irregular choice to collab with Nicki's long-term rival L. At this point, fans are beginning to draw an obvious conclusion also. They're saying assuming Drake is beefing with the entire business and losing companions, left and right, perhaps quite possibly he's the shared factor in this show. Yet what precisely did Wayne and Nicki say when they chose to remove themselves from Drake? Are they, as a matter of fact, accusing him for the destruction of youthful Cash? We should make a plunge. What's more, figure out that I really do know how to lead. I do know how to unite individuals, and I likewise improve them now. How old were you when you had we begun to recorder? Most likely when I was around 17 ascent. Also, the fall of youthful Cash back in the mid-2010s, Lil Wayne's young Cash name was nearly dominating the music business. They had a stacked list of abilities with both laid-out stars and new faces prepared to explode. Be that as it may, as we are probably aware, things didn't exactly go as arranged, and presently youthful Cash is basically defun. The vast majority of the enormous names have either begun their own marks or escaped to sign more ideal arrangements, where they don't need to share the benefits with youthful Cash and greenbacks. What brought in youthful Cash so extraordinary was its center around youthful hungry craftsmen as a branch off of the greater cold hard Cash mark. Youthful Cash was Lil Wayne's brainchild during his pinnacle, and he pulled in a ton of ability by simply being the genius he was for those somewhere in the range of 25 and 35, particularly down south. Lil Wayne was fundamentally their age's Jay-Z. With that sort of clout, he collected a triplet of youthful specialists who, on the off chance that they'd remain together, might have gone down as the most prominent mark group ever aside from Wayne himself. The triplet I'm talking about is obviously Drake. Nicki Minaj and Igga Drake had genius composed all over him from the very beginning. You could tell from the get-go that he was bound for significance. He had this remarkable blend of rapping and singing that got an enormous female fan base and the knapsack swarm that was huge in those days. His presence alone soars youthful Cash stock. Now, Nicki Minaj wants no presentation. She was the main female rapper, overwhelming the standard for very nearly 10 years in a row, and could outperform 95% of the men in the game with respect to Tyga. He was an enormous star at one point, but some way or another youthful Cash failed with him. See, there was a second when Tyga was on target to be referenced close by rap heavyweights. His 2012 and 2013 collections, Imprudent World, Ascent of the Last Ruler, and In California show just the amount of potential he possessed, yet Tyga wasn't the only one youthful Cash drew the ball with. We should discuss J Factories. He was a rapper's rapper straight out of New York, known for his rap fights and melodious abilities, yet the issue was he couldn't make tunes that individuals needed to replay, and in an industry loaded with capable rappers, simply being great wasn't enough. And whenever you could say that any of different craftsmen on Youthful Cash might have been large or could have exploded, you can truly express that about any craftsman today. However, actually everybody isn't a star or have that star quality about tat themselves. Now the last issue with the Youthful Cash mark, and something that perhaps at the same time prompted its ruin, was how much specialists that they had on the name. They had individuals there, and I'm sure that they attempted to get every one of them out. However, in doing that, they got none of them out. The mark was so centered around getting Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki, and Igga said that they lacked the opportunity to get craftsmen like J Factories, Corey Firearms, Christina Million, Euroflow, Gutta Guta, Lil Ben, Lil Chucky Glasses Malone, or indeed even from Marion's collection out. And that isn't even the entire program. Lil Wayne and the others running Youthful Cash likely saw something in these craftsmen, yet having every one of them under record bargains and not doing anything with them is presumably one of the principal reasons that Youthful Cash went down. Now, when it comes to the explanation, Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki's stalwart triplet disintegrated well. It seems to be there's something way more individual that went down. It appears Wayne also, Nicki, arrived at the brutal understanding that Drake was never as faithful to them as they were to him, the way that Drake broke brother code. Drake and Lil Wayne have some serious history, and back in the early 2010s, Drake, Wayne, and Nicki Minaj were a definitive hip bounce blessed trinity, dropping a large number of hits under the Money Cash, Youthful Cash name. During that time, Drake and Wheezy were just about as close as it gets, with Drake continually showering Wayne with acclaim, considering him the best. Yet things took a sharp turn in Walk 2010 when Wayne was condemned to a year in jail, later confessing to firearm ownership. So Wayne wound up serving 8 months of his extended sentence at Rikers, and during that time, the tea is that Drake purportedly connected with Wheezy's then sweetheart, Tammy Torres. Presently, back in 2015, TMZ dropped a sensation report, which they later erased, saying that Wayne was so irate about Drake crushing his young lady that he was prepared to go after genuinely him. As per TMZ, Wayne spilled all this tea in a book proposition he conveyed to distributors. In that proposition, Wayne, as far as anyone knows, guaranteed that while he was secured at Riker, Drake dropped by him and directly advised him to stop meddling with Tammy, since he had currently laid down with her. Wayne composed, "This is the kind of is that a man won't ever care about to find out when he's secured, or perhaps so, 'cause just God understands what I would have done in the event that I wasn't secured at this moment. Figuring out that she meddled with Drake was the most horrible thing I could have at any point figured out." Now, when Wayne left, Terror tended to this episode in a meeting with Hip Hollywood anyway. This time, he guaranteed he held no resentment against Drake. Obviously, in the book, there's a section in the book where you said that he came in and let you know that he had crushed one of your young lady. Well, gracious, I wasn't worried about that. You realize I would just, that is exactly the way in which life go. When you secured, however, quick forward to now, and Kendrick Lamar chosen to mix the pot by reminding Wheezy of how Drake did him messy on Not Like Us. Kendrick got down on Drake for laying down with Wayne's young lady, and he too raised how Drake got a tattoo of Wayne's face on his left side rear arm muscle. Back in 2017, around 2 years after Wayne spilled the tea on the treachery in his book Proposition, Kendrick is by all accounts indicating that while Drake's tattoo could look like a recognition, it doesn't exactly stir things up around town, given the job Drake supposedly played in harming his coach, and you definitely realize fans had a lot to say about it. Someone remarked that Drake double-crosses everybody he contacts, and you don't feel that incorporates Wayne too. He was likely one of the primary individuals he cut off ties with, and another fan said Wayne hasn't actually been effing with Drake and cautioned him not to get in the path of attempting to talk ganga and remain in his hip jump hop pathway, a genuine one. He gave Drake the keys, yet he is not going to save a 37-year-old person. He realizes Kenny is going to cover him and presumably smoke one also. Share with himself what I told you so. Presently, before we plunge into what Lil Wayne said about these theories, he cut ties with Drake. How about we change everything around and visit about Sovereign? Nicki Minaj. It looks like she's truly feeling the sting of Drake's double-crossing. You can see everything over her web-based entertainment, and in interviews, she appears to be really wounded by how things turned out and how Drake double-crossed. Nicki and Drake hit it off as associates all along, repping the Youthful Cash group with serious flair. Their on-screen science was through the rooftop, so it didn't take long for fans to begin humming that there may be more to happen between them than just companionship. I've been hanging tight for this second for life. Furthermore, oh, God, so I was simply pondering truly, what resembles the pinnacle second on that stage? You need to know what, Drizzy. I truly love breaking out from under the floor doing Roman R. You know, when I say I'll kick that digger dropkick, and when I say you know well on the off chance that you aren't, then get off the pot very strongly. You understand what I mean, truth be told. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.